What's up everybody, back on some Blender. See, I got another animation here. Using this armature was created with the Rigify add-on. I won't go into how to use Rigify. There's plenty of videos that explain it far better than I could, but it's how I got this rig with all the face bones, and it did come with hand bones where I set up these control bones on the knuckles, and I'll show you that here in just a second. But I just made an idle stance for character doing some martial arts. I just did a bow staff because it's a very easy weapon to model, and I had a hell of a time trying to figure out how to attach it to this hand to get it to move correctly, and I'll go over some of that as well, but I'm not going for super high detail at this point. Just again playing with some animations, playing around with the dope sheet, messing with the keyframes, smoothing things out, speeding them up, slowing them down, just playing around with the animations. That's the fun part, especially when you're learning, is just playing around, make it do some silly stuff, get some laughs out of it. Again, the technique that I'm focusing on is playing around with the stuff and practicing with each individual little part. In this video in particular, I'm gonna go over the hands and how I made the fist and everything. So let me stop this, zoom in on this hand. Gotta zoom in on this hand. You can see I have these 4 bones here, and then one for the thumb. So if we go to select the armature, go to pose mode, so you can see if I rotate this, it will uncurl the finger. So all that does is each of these 3 bones is set with a constraint. So if I select that one, go to my constraints, it's set to copy the rotation from the target meta rig, which is the name of this armature that is controlling the character's body, with the parent bone being the Palmo2.L001, which is my controller bone. Should be this bone. If we go to the bones tab, we can see this is Palmo2.L001 because this is Palm.O2.L, and I just duplicated that to make this bone, and then parented. So when I duplicated it, it retained the parent of this hand bone here. Since I duplicated this one, which was already parented to this hand bone, it just retained the parent. But I did reparent it to maintain the offset of where it is, so it would be outside of the hand. So again, I just rotate, and it just copies whatever rotation you do with the controller bone. I did try to set up a master controller, which would, my theory was I could unwrap each finger individually with these, and then the controller, I could wrap all of them if I just wanted to make a fist or whatever, or I could do each finger individually if I wanted to flip somebody the bird, or if I'm holding a teacup and I want to stick my pinky out, I could do that. But once I set up the master bone, it wouldn't let me individually rotate any of these. So all of these were forced to follow the master bone. So I have to find a workaround for that at some point. But for now, this works pretty well. So if someone knows how to set up a master controller for these four finger rotator bones, feel free to leave that in the comments for me, and I will definitely make use of it. So another thing I wanted to talk about in this video that I've been trying to nail down is linking my animation sequences together. So the way I made this animation was I started with no weapon. Actually, let me open that file right now. Let's go to idle stance. So this was the original animation. So he just starts from a standing pose, balls up his fist, and sets back in a stance ready to attack or defend. So then if we go back to the fully set position, which would actually be this one, and then so this is fully set, this is the actual stance pose. So then I just did a couple of circles. You can just see the body kind of rocking around in a circle once he's in the appropriate stance. So I just came here where the stance was set, and then I changed. I didn't mess with the right hand. I just took the left hand, put the staff in it, and then reposed it so the staff wouldn't clip with the body and make it look natural, like he's actually holding the staff as a person would hold it. With the again, the idea being that I can have this animation, and then I can actually keep all of these keyframes because this is just the body rocking around, and then I could add then I could move this back, rotate it so it's holding the staff. You could just add the staff in the hand and insert your keyframes for the staff in the new position of the hand. And then you could save that. So this would be one file. And then if I wanted to, so all of my actions, any of my kicks or punches would come out of the end of this animation. So now he's ready to fight, so then I could, in these subsequent keyframes, pose it however I wanted to make different actions, and I could just add on to this animation. Or if he's just sitting still, you know, we just play this animation, he goes into a stance, and then we basically just loop from 40 to 120 and just keep looping that. And he would just stand there rocking back and forth. That's all I wanted to get into in this video. Again, the controller bone. So if I take this index finger controller, let's get that a little more centered. I'm going to rotate it on the x-axis, and you can see how all the finger uncurls. So I set each of these bones to have a copy rotation constraint, and they're all constrained to the same bone. This one. So then we go to the middle part. It's still apparent they're all copying the rotation of the same bone. So when this bone rotates, it rotates all three of those bones simultaneously by the same amount, and that gives it the effect of the finger curling around. So the top portion of the finger bends at the knuckle, then the middle portion bends at the middle knuckle at the same time, and then the tip rotates at the same time as the other two, so they're all rotating the same distance. So you can see this one is rotated 90 degrees from its original position. Oops. It's rotated 90 degrees, so right now they're basically all 180 degrees. And now they've all rotated 90 degrees, so I can follow this up 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. And that gives us again the effect of the finger curling on itself as you bend it. I think that's going to do it for this video. So I'm going to again probably start with this stance. I'll be using this stance a lot as a starting point. And then again I could come out of this stance with a kick, you know, just shoot the leg out and up. So we got a kick, and you can see my knee is pointing at this, so if I move this up it will flip the leg around like it's supposed to be. Just put that back, select all, and put it all back where it was, and then go back to our keyframes, watch it one more time. Just a nice gentle bounce. You know, if you're just standing there, you're breathing, and an assortment of other actions that are going on keep you from really being able to stand perfectly still. So let's look at the weapon one again. Zoom out, do the camera view. Camera view. Another thing I did with this was mess around with camera keyframes. So we're controlling the camera, which allows us to control the focus of the viewer. So we can focus the camera in on any particular point. The focus at the beginning of this one obviously being the hand wrapping around the bow staff, or making a fist, if that's what you choose to do. Yep. It's looking alright. Again, still very amateurish. You can see my keyframes are still spaced them out evenly until I get to the little body roll. Even then, you know, I use my every 10th keyframe as a reference for putting in my new keyframes. So I basically went 1 or 2 keyframes after the initial posing to set up the little roll. And then these ones, these are actually the hands. So you can see as he's going up and down, the hand trails. As he reaches the top, the hands continue up, and as he reaches the bottom, the hands continue down a short distance, but you know, your hands kind of follow, but then there's a little bit of lag. As you start to stand back up, your hands are still going down for a second, and then start to follow your body up. So that's what I was going for with that. Yep, it's looking pretty good so far. Again, I haven't messed with any textures or materials or anything like that. Just going for the animations at this point. Having fun with it. Seeing what I can do with it. And I will see you in the next one, hopefully.